Good day, everyone. Today, we are here to talk about or discuss about speech, informative talks, and panel discussions. So first, let's determine what is speech and informative talk. It is how people generate shared meaning through the use of verbal and nonverbal symbols or language. To put it simply, it is speech. To put it simply, speech or informative talk is the action to share knowledge or information to others through verbal and nonverbal language. It provides enlightenment regarding a specific topic the audience knows nothing about. So there are multiple types of speech. First is a memorized speech. It is a speech that the speaker has mastered in his mind and heart. The speaker is normally in total control of the wording because he or she had planned it. From the name itself, the writer or the speaker is given enough time to prepare and present the speech and master the speech word for word in their mind and heart. So an example of this is a valedictory speech, speech choir, toast speech, and a roast speech. Next one, extemporaneous speech. It is a type of speech delivery that involves the preparation of speaker notes before delivery associated with the conversational style of delivery. So to put it simply, extemporaneous speech makes use of notes or an outline for their delivery, such as this discussion where I, the speaker, use a PowerPoint presentation as a guide to my lecture. An example of this is lecturing and hosting. Next, impromptu speech. A speech intended to be done without any preparation at all and is also known as on-the-spot speaking. To put it simply, this speech only means the speaker is not given any time to prepare at all to present something and is given the opportunity to speak at the spur of the moment. So an example of this is a recitation in class, question and answer portion from a pageant, a debate, and an interview. So there are multiple types of speech according to purpose. First is an informative speech written to present fascinating and useful information to increase the knowledge of your audience. So this video lecture is an example of an informative speech because the main purpose is to inform, to increase awareness, and to deepen understanding. Now let's discuss some few informative communication strategies you can use. First is informatory. To create or increase awareness, like I've said, to report new information, while explanatory is to deepen the understanding on the topic and to clarify difficult information and create understanding. Next one is types of informative speeches. First is description or objects, includes anything visible and tangible in form, explanation or processes, a systematic series of actions that leads to a specific result or product, events, anything that happens, concepts or definitions, a belief, theory of ideas or principle, and last, speeches about an issue. Next one, a persuasive speech, usually challenges an audience's beliefs and or tries to move those in attendance to change existing viewpoints or at least recognize the validity of opposing viewpoints. To put it simply, it means to persuade an audience into believing or siding on the idea of the topic you are presenting. So there are multiple types of persuasive speech. First is the question of fact. An example of this is provided there, will the stock market rally in 2020? Because that is a fact. Next one, question of policy. Are smokers being unfairly singled out for higher taxation? That questions a policy that is already made for smoking. And last is questions of value. An example of this is, do people have the right to choose to die with dignity? Because it questions values that is instilled within humans. Next is demonstrative speech. A speech that tells or shows an audience how to do something. It requires that you provide instruction by using materials in which to perform a specific task. So, an example of a demonstrative speech are instructional videos online where they present step-by-step guide on how to do something, and the audiences follow along. While an argumentative speech is a persuasive speech, in which the speaker attempts to persuade the audience to alter their viewpoints on a controversial issue. This type of speech is extremely challenging, therefore, the speaker should be careful to choose a topic which they feel prepared to an argument. So, it is indeed a type of persuasive speech because you're encouraging the audience to side with your motion, with the added twist of needing to be more careful because these types of speech can start arguments, as the name suggests. Now let's move on to panel discussion. Now, what is a panel discussion? Or simply a panel is a public exchange of ideas giving experts and audience members the chance to discuss a particular topic. It involves a group of people gathered to discuss a topic in front of an audience, typically at a scientific, business, or academic conferences, fan conventions, and on television shows. To put it simply, it is like a group discussion that happens in front of an audience. It's usually about a certain topic, and the people in the group are experts or have different views on the subject. They talk to each other and also answer questions from the people watching. It's a way for everyone to learn more about the topic from different perspectives. The panelists discuss the issue or topic with each other by asking questions or reacting to the views and opinions of other panel members. The leader, moderator, or chairman opens and closes the discussion and provides a summary of panel presentations and discussion. The most important person here is not just the panelists but also the leader and the moderator because they're the ones who are providing the balance and keeping everything in check throughout the panel discussion. Now, how do you conduct a panel discussion? Okay, first, putting a panel together. First, you must select a topic, and next, recruit varied participants. So, this needs to be either experts or people who are knowledgeable about the topic but have different viewpoints. They are important in creating a really effective panel discussion. Invite a moderator, chairman, or leader, like I've said before, and plan a physical setup where the panel discussion will take place, and like that. I would like to highlight that always assign or invite a moderator or a leader in a panel discussion because their role is to open and close the discussion and to provide a balance if the unexpected does happen. Now, next, planning the panel discussion. First, figure out the goals of the panel. So at the end of the panel, what should be achieved? That is the first step in planning the panel discussion itself. Next, decide how long the panel should last. Now a panel discussion shouldn't last very long but shouldn't last very short either. So you might want to consider that. Next one, consider starting with individual lectures. This is pretty optional because it can be time consuming if you provide each speaker with an individual lecture of their own, but if there is ample time, then you may do so. Next, try to avoid visual presentations. Now, why should we try to avoid visual presentations within a panel discussion? It's because the panel discussion is meant for dynamic exchanges of dialogues between panelists. Visual aids can shift the attention away from the conversation, making it less engaging. Next, write questions for panelists. Now, this is important so that there may be a need for clarifications for the topic being discussed. Next, or last, is introduce the panelists to each other in advance. This is so that they can familiarize on who they are going to be conversing with through the panel discussion and so that there could be a familiarity, so that there would be no alien in the group. Last is moderating a panel discussion proper. First, of course, briefly introduce the panel and each participant. You need to introduce their background to the audience and what they do, just so that the audience can be familiarized on how they are related to the topic or why they are chosen to speak on the panel discussion. Next, involve the audience early. You need to have a really strong points, and you need to engage the audience early so that they will stick from first to finish in the panel discussion. Next, ask the panelists the prepared questions, like I've said before. Follow through your questions as necessary. If there's still any clarifications or questions regarding a topic, or if there's still unclear things in the topic, you may provide follow-up questions. Get a timekeeper. Yes, this is important because you don't need the panel discussion to be long, like I've said, so that people, or this, not just the people, but also the speakers are aware that there being times that they have only limited time to speak and limited time to answer the questions. Next, keep the panelists on task. So what does this mean? So during a panel discussion means ensuring that they stay focused on the topic at hand and contribute to the conversation in a meaningful way, so that you should always, or this is the job of the moderator, where they should always remind the speakers or the panelists what the topic is about, so that the point will not go all over the place. Next is collect questions from the audience. So this is part of interacting or involving with the audience, so that if there's still unclarified concepts, the panelists can enlighten them more about it. And thank you. That is all.